Welcome to Insight Plug, the podcast where independent creators and entrepreneurs connect and inspire. I'm your host, Devon Jones. Today on our show, we have actor Matty Mahoney. Matty, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
So Matty, I took a look at your portfolio and you have some pretty good films that you've worked on. But before we jump into the projects that you worked on, let's talk about you as an actor. When did you decide that acting was a career that you wanted to pursue?
Um, I think it was probably less than a year ago now, actually. It was just a random chance. I've never had ambitions to be an actor. I've never had any belief in my ability to do it or anything like that. It was just I was between jobs for like 2 weeks, and I saw an advert for an open audition with no experience required. Just needed a Scouse accent like mine. So I went to it. I didn't get the job because it ended up being quite a big TV show. It's coming out soon, but just for the experience, I just did it for a bit of fun. Um, and because I didn't get it, I became determined. I was like, I'm going to be in at least one film or at least one, something. I'm going to do at least one job. So I became obsessed, and just the next week, I got headshots done. I applied to about 25 different roles, and within like 3 weeks, one had come back to me. So yeah, within a month of just randomly turning up to an audition, with no previous experience, I was doing my first film, and I'm addicted to it now. I can't stop applying for things and just getting involved.
Awesome, awesome. I love it. I love it. But before we get into you, because you have a good amount of films that you worked on, and that's awesome. Being that you like had no ambition to be an actor,
No,
and
not
you
at
were
all.
just determined, and boom, now you're on a hot streak. Let's talk about that audition. How was it? How was that first audition for you?
It was funny because I've never done that before at all. And in my mind, I was just going to turn up. I ride a motorbike, so in my mind, I was turn up, park the motorbike right outside the door, walk straight in, do my audition. It's going to go great. Back on the bike and be home in 10 minutes. And it wasn't like that at all. Not at all. I turned down the street and I just saw a queue of people right down the road, right round the corner. And I just rode past. I didn't stop. I was like, I'm not doing that. And I parked up and I texted my wife and I said, there's too many people there. I'm not going to do it. It's a silly idea, me acting. Why would I do that? And she just said, just give it 10 minutes, see what happens. So I thought, okay, I'll give it 10 minutes. And it was raining, but I was in no like waterproof bike gear, so it was fine. I stood there, and I think within 10 minutes, I must have moved about a meter. The queue was going nowhere, but I was like, no, I'm standing in now. I've wasted 10 minutes. I may as well waste, half an hour or however long it's going to take. And then 2 hours later, I was inside the building. I was like, yeah, okay, that's progress. And then it took me another like half an hour to get into the actual room. And then it was funny because I learned the sides he sent over. I learned the words off by heart and I knew it perfectly. And I had my performance all kind of practice because I had like a couple of weeks to prepare. But as soon as like the camera's in front of me, and the lady was reading the lines back to me, um, I lost control of my face a little bit. I got like so self-conscious that I felt like my face was just kind of tensing up into this kind of weird smile. I couldn't control it, but I still managed to get the words out okay. And then afterwards she was like, that was quite a good performance. It was, it's quite natural. And she gave me some nice feedback. And then she said, have you got contact details? And I thought, oh, I'm going to get a call back here. So she asked me for my email address, and I said it, and it's quite a long, email address. And normally people will need clarification on, is that two T's in Matthew, or is that, she didn't ask for any clarification at all. She went, yeah, got it, and wrote it down. I thought you didn't write that down. You're just being nice, you know what I mean? So I was like, well, thanks for your time. It was great. And then on the way out, I couldn't resist. That's just such a newbie doing these things. And I just turned around and I said, like, I've never done that before. That was great. And I thought, even if I wasn't, I've just ruined all my chances there by just appearing like such a tourist, So I went out there and I thought, I'm never getting that, never getting a call back, and I didn't. But yeah, like I said, after that, I was just like, I need to do it at least once, just to see if I can do it or not, or to see if it really is fun. And it turns out it is, so that's why I'm doing more and more.
Nice, nice. That's an interesting experience. All right. So how did you land your first role, and what was your film that you worked that you was an actor in?
Yeah, the first one, it was from Star Now, the website. And I put up a little monologue of just me talking to the camera. I wrote in fact, that was probably the first thing I wrote actually. It's just a short monologue about to try and show some emotional depth. It was about like a house fire that this character had been through and so on. And it's quite like a sad tale of like, my wife got the girls out, but Bobby was stuck behind the flames, and it goes on for a while, and all the while you're thinking Bobby must be his son, and then the twist at the end is it was his dog. I mean, he still died. It was very sad, but that was the kind of little twist I put in at the end, and that was the only video on my profile, and I applied for a couple of roles, and one of the producers had seen that and said like, you we want you for this role. I think we're really good for it. So I didn't even do like a an audition as such or a self tape. It was just off the strength of that video. So within a week of that, I was like on my first set, like as the lead role, playing a detective in a student film called Scattered Echoes, which is very interesting experience. It was good.
Awesome. That's awesome. I love it. I love it. All right. So let's get into these projects that I have here. One of the projects is called Delivery, where
Yes.
you're doing some action in there.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that was good.
uh,
I'm actually working on a film right now with the same guys. So we started filming yesterday. We've got tomorrow and then a couple of days next week as well. So we're in the middle of that. Really good against a student film, but a really, really high quality, production, and really good to work with. So in Delivery, yeah, that was the story. That was basically like, not gonna give any spoilers by the way, but I play a food delivery driver that but burst into someone's house and basically berates him for his bad lifestyle and all his bad choices and the junk food and the whatever else. And I just drink his wine and make myself welcome where I shouldn't be, and basically tell him off for a bad lifestyle. And then there's a nice twist at the end. So yeah, that was a really good film to do as well.
oh, I love it. I love it. That sounds awesome. All right. So this next project is called Confess. How did you get connected with this project?
Yes, that's not my next one. That's the one that was done last June. That was finished. So that was I mean that was brilliant, really good. Me and my wife Louisa we've just gone down to London last week to watch like the kind of the premiere of it. Had a great night, and it was really good. Looks great on the big screen. But that was the one where I said to anyone who would listen that it was such a good script. The writer and director Ajit Man was such a like the vision for that film was so strong from like day one. I basically said to people like, if I can't do this justice, if this film isn't good because of me, then I shouldn't be in the business, because like this, the other cast, the crew, the whole thing was such a good setup. It was like the best opportunity I could ever have, and that was within what 2 3 months of me deciding I'm going to do this was when I first made contact. And it was brilliant. It was absolutely like the production values of everyone involved, like the performances of the other actors. It was just a perfect opportunity for me, and I think it did go as perfect as it possibly could have gone. Even down to the weather. I mean, you know how bad the weather is in this country. It's known for it. But we managed to film on like the three hottest years last July, and some of the just the bright sunlight breaking through the windows and stuff was just, the whole setup was just perfect. And yeah, everyone who's managed to see it, they do like it. But I think it struggled to get onto regular film festivals and stuff because it's 28 minutes long. If it's a lot shorter, we could have gone onto quite a few things already, but it's hard to find a way to get it screened with it being 28 minutes long. But we'll get there. I think when people do see it, I think they'll appreciate it. And it was like the best like baddie role I could ever want. I play a horrible character, and I love playing baddies, and that was probably the ultimate baddie. To the point where I showed my mum the film, and she couldn't look at me after it because she was like, "You're so horrible in that film. I can't even look at you," which is a massive compliment. So yeah,
Oh yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right. So this next project is called The Metamorphosis. How
yes,
was the
yeah,
experience on that set?
yeah. Well, we've only done one day of it so far, but it's been really good. It's a very probably the weirdest thing I may ever work on. I don't know. It's it's based on Kafka's The Metamorphosis, which I'm pretending I have read. I haven't. I don't know anything about it, but it's quite a famous short story, I believe. And the story of this film based on that is that I play the father, and my son and me and my wife in the film are struggling with the changes that are happening to our son. It's kind of a bit of a metaphor for puberty, I guess. But he's basically turned into this big insect, and we're trying to
Mhm.
act like it's all normal. You know, he's like a fly, like puking on his food at the dinner table to eat it, and we're like, you know, I'm the one who's sort of like spotting a problem, and my wife's sort of like, no, it's all okay, everything's fine, everything's fine. It's a really weird like um it's got massive comedy elements to it, but the comedy is based around the fact that we're trying to make out like it's normal, and it's really good. And I mean, I've worked with these guys before, like I said, and the level of detail they go into, you know, it sometimes means long nights doing it, but I'll stay till whatever time to get what they need because I'd rather do you know a good film and be tired for a week than you know get home early and it be a rubbish film. So yeah, I think it's going to be good. We've got 3 days left on it, and some of the scenes are going to be like disgusting, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to technically do it. You know, with those kind of insects like fly, bug stuff. It'll be horrible to watch for me. I don't like that kind of stuff, but no, it'll be good. It'll be good.
Awesome. That's awesome. Before we get into your the rest of your projects, where can people find your work at?
So you can follow me on Instagram. It's I'm at Zach's Papa, ZACKSPAPA, and I post whatever that's been released. I kind of post on there, and you'll kind of see these things pinned. There's a couple of things that are like freely available or like right now already. It's probably the best place to put it because I put everything on there really. So there was a film I was in. Am I allowed to swear in this podcast, by the way?
Say
Can
again.
I can I curse? Am I allowed to swear?
Go for it.
Yeah, well, there's this film as in last year called Robbing Bastard 2, the sequel to Robbing Bastard, that's on YouTube now. So there's a link on the profile there, which is like a kind of a short comedy thing where I play a horrible man again, but it's quite funny. Just a quick note on that one. That is the quickest turnaround in a film I'll probably ever be involved in. So I went down on the bike to Birmingham. We shot it for like 3 hours. And by the time I was back home, like 2 hours after we finished, Tom, the director, it nearly done the first cut. It was that quick because all the scenes were lined up. We went line for line, and he just edited it together. And it was online that night, about 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. It was unbelievable turnover time. And that was great fun. But that's available. And then there's a couple of others as well on Instagram. So, but
Nice.
hopefully we'll get Confess out soon because that's the one I want people to see at the moment. I think that's gonna be good.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna be looking forward to that. Confess. So during your experience on working on these film projects and now being an actor, what have you say has been your an obstacle that you had to overcome?
Um, to be honest, the main obstacle to overcome is getting time off work because I'm not a full-time actor. You know, I'm not a professional actor. I work a full-time job, and there's only so many days a year that you can book off. So I think I used up almost all my holidays last year on doing acting stuff. And I had to keep like a week aside so we could go on a family holiday, of course, otherwise I'd have been in trouble. But yeah, I was using up all my spare days. And then it got to the end of the year and I was like, can you do weekends? Because I've got no days left. So scheduling is the most difficult thing at this stage, I believe. You know, it's I think the jump to go from sort of an amateur actor like I am to going full time professional is probably is a massive leap, and I don't think many people make it. So I'd be very lucky if I could.
Awesome. And what is or who would be is an inspiration to you, to keep going, to keep moving forward? Who has been an inspiration on you?
It's funny because I don't tend to like sort of have inspirations and role models as such that are kind of relevant to what I'm doing. So I mean, obviously, there's always actors and stuff you admire. So your favorite actor, you'd say you might say that. Or if you're into sports, you'd have your favorite like footballer or your favorite boxer or whatever. But I think I don't tend to do that. I tend to get involved in things and just be myself. I don't expect to be right at the top, so there's no point me trying to be like the guys at the top. You know what I mean? I think more like I just keep on doing it, keep on enjoying it. So the kind of things that inspire me, or the kind of people that inspire me, aren't necessarily directly related to what I'm doing. And I think about this a lot, like the other week, like who's my hero, or who inspires me, and it might seem like a bit of a strange one, but it's I've got my cousin James. He's been battling cancer all his life. He's been through so many things. I mean, he was born with it, and he's mid 30s now, so and he's beating all the odds. Last year it went bad again, and it looked like he was in real danger, and he's come through it again, and he never complains. All the things like the doctor's prodding and poking him, surgery, all the kind of chemo, all this stuff, he never complains. And I look at him and I just think, if I was like half the man you are, mate, I'd be unbelievable. So, I'd say our James would be my inspiration, really. He can't
Thank
act
you.
like.
Thank you for sharing that. I love that. I love that. All right. So now we have this project called Lead Us Not.
Yeah.
How was the experience with that
Oh,
project?
that was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. That was last week or the week before. Week before it was. We finished that one. Again, this was another student film as well, but I think they get better all the time. These students, some of the ideas they come up with. Um, I shouldn't really give a spoiler out, but it doesn't matter. I need to explain how good they were technically. So it ends up at one point where I get my character gets a pitchfork through his back, and the prongs come out of his chest. And when I read the script, I was like, oh, and my hands cut off as well. And I was like, how are you going to do that? Like, it's just a student budget thing. You're not going to be able to do this. And when they actually explained to me how they were going to do it, I was like, that is unbelievable. Like the way they did the pitchfork through the chest was they 3D printed the four separate prongs and put Velcro on the bottom of them. Then he put a belt round my chest with Velcro on it and four holes in the shirt, and then he just kind of put the spikes in, and they were kind of sticking out that way. And then I had to end up like impaled on this thing, so they built a platform with those padding on it, which I kind of lay backwards over it like that, and then there was a pitchfork handle underneath, so it just looks like I was literally caught on this pitchfork, and it looks amazing, and just the inventiveness of these people is like it's to be admired. And also it's good writing as well, like the actual story itself. It's based on sort of morals and sins and whatnot, and it's like the characters are given a chance to kind of redeem themselves by this kind of this kind of mythical creature that's kind of hunting them, and is about to punish them for their wrongdoing. And the guy I was playing, Paul, was like cheating on his wife, and he was kind of meeting his young lady in this remote location, which is where the creature appears. And then you eventually get to give it a chance to kind of come clean, and doesn't, continues to lie, and then ends up punished. So yeah, it's very well done, and that's part of a that's the middle part of a three-part film that they're doing. So they haven't finished that yet. I've not seen the finished thing, but some of the like behind the scenes stuff they've sent me over, it looks good already. So I look forward to seeing that one.
Same here as another one, definitely. All right, so you have your acne experience, but now you decided that you want to try screenwriting. You have a
Yeah.
script called Wood Smith. How did
Yes.
you come up with the concept for that?
So with that, I mean, I'd previously written some things, just kind of, a few unfinished ideas where I've just left loads of notes to say, finish that bit, just ideas, kind of skeleton ideas. But this one came about because I just fancied the idea of something better on my show reel, where it just like, write a kind of show reel script for myself, and it was just a monologue where like I started off this monologue where this guy's a bit of I like dark things like psycho type things, so I was writing a bit of a kind of psycho thing, bit of a mysterious opening script. So I wrote that, and then the more I was like kind of reading through it, I was thinking I don't want to waste this on just putting like my iPhone in front of me and recording it. I thought I can write a few more scenes to this, and it got like more and more and more, and then in the end of the day, it became like like the length of a short film now. So that's all written and done and dusted, and we're going to be shooting that in June. I've got most of the cast and most of the crew sorted. I've got locations. I've got all my props. So some of the props here I've got preparing these little fake shotgun shells and all kinds of stuff. So I've got like a room full of props, and there's months before we even start shooting. So that's all kind of going ahead, and also being really over ambitious. I've kind of written most of the long version of that. If people like it, I've got the long version that comes after it with all a lot of extra twists and turns and kind of weird happenings. So yeah, it might be interesting. People, I don't know, but I'm gonna make it anyway. So we'll see.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Oh, I love your journey. So from having, no ambition as an actor to now you got a handful of films that you worked on. You had the premiere and the big screen in London, and then you wrote your first screenplay, and it's going to be
Yeah.
start in production this year.
Yeah.
Keep
Yeah. It's
at
a
it. I love
strange
it. I
journey,
love
isn't it?
it.
Yeah. You never know, do you? You never know what's going to happen.
hmm All right, so we're at that point of the episode where I ask this question to all the guests. What is a book, a TV show, or a film that you recommend to an aspiring actor?
I think one of my all-time favorite films, um, and my mum's going to tell me off for pronouncing this wrong. I call it La Haine. If you're French, you'd call it La Haine. I don't know if you're familiar with that film. It was made in 1995, shot in black and white, although obviously there was color TV then. And it's based on like this kind of inner city turmoil in Paris. Such a good film. So like the atmosphere is like I've not seen a film like it really. And I think the best part about it for me was the way I discovered it. I think it's always important, like when you first hear a song or when you first see a film, it's where you are kind of matters as well. And I was watching this, like I was what, so 16 years old in 1996 because the film was made the year before, and it was being shown late night on Channel 4 in the UK. It was being shown about 2 in the morning, and like I'm 16, and I don't want to sleep. I want to watch TV all night and kind of, you know what I mean. And I started watching this, and the film itself is kind of based around that time of the morning too. It kind of goes through the night, while these while like the main characters are having trouble with the police and kind of other stuff. And it just kind of, the atmosphere was perfect. It was late at night for me, it was late at night for them, and I was getting so into this film. And just the drama of it was absolutely brilliant. Some of the characters in it and some of the events was just like, I love it, to the point where I'm actually 50-50 about whether to get it tattooed on me, like the kind of front cover of it. I've got a tattoo booked in for the 21st of this month, and it's either going to be the front cover of that, or it's going to be the front cover of, or at least the kind of artwork off the front cover of And Justice for All by Metallica. Lady Justice, just that. So yeah, I mean, it's that impactful for me that, like, 20, how many years later? About it now. Such a good film.
Awesome, awesome. All right, everyone. That was our episode of Inside Plug. If you love what you heard, don't forget to check out some of our previous episodes and also check us out every Tuesday on YouTube at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Maddie, thank you for joining us today. I loved
Thank you,
hearing
sir.
your story and I look forward to your projects coming up. And also, we're going to get the link to any films that you want to share. We'll have it in the description so our
Yeah.
viewers can check that out.
Oh, thank you, mate.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been your host, Devon Jones for Inside Plug. Remember, stay inspired and keep creating. Inside Plug, signing out.